All right, welcome in, guys. It is Monday, January 3rd. I am Andrew McInnis. This is the Andrew McInnis Daily Sports Podcast. This is a Monday through Friday brand new podcast. Just me, Andrew McInnis, as your host, talking about sports, talking about hot takes, reacting, recapping, all of that good stuff. We might have some guests on every now and then, but I wanted to just create a podcast, a daily podcast, Monday through Friday. Come on here, get some rants out of the way, get some thoughts out of the way, recap some things, talk about some hot topics in the world of sports every single day. And for those of you guys that are here tuning in, and this is your first time on the Mayflower brand, whether it's YouTube or Twitter, this is a podcast and media company I have started in my hometown with a very good friend of mine. So if you are here from my personal Twitter account, please do me a favor, hit the follow on Twitter, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook as well. But I'm Andrew McInnis, and I'm going to be discussing sports, reacting to sports, and breaking things down every single day. The shows will range from 15 minutes to an hour, depending on what there is to talk about, how many topics I'm going to discuss, if I have a guest on, and everything else in between. But I really look forward to doing this show. I really look forward to breaking down different topics and just reacting to different things that I liked and I saw or didn't like in the world of sports, either that day or from the day before. And obviously, we are here on a Monday talking. So there's a few topics that I want to discuss right out the gate. Before I do that, though, I kind of want to just give a little background story about Mayflower Sports and talk about our journey so far, what we want to accomplish, and kind of our goal with this brand. So we have a podcast already called the Game of Inches podcast that has several episodes. We've been doing that for probably about 3/4 of a year now. And we've had several guests, including CFL players. We had media members. We've had all kinds of guys, handicappers on, sports writers. We've had so many different types of people on that podcast. And that is with my co-founder, Jacob Smith. The two of us have done that together. This company was started during the pandemic, guys. This was started last year, and we've kind of just wanted to do media, so interviews, podcasting, filming of sports. But a lot of the people that are in our community that are doing filming and kind of media around sports, they're kind of captivating or being held to just one sport, like hockey, because it's so big in my hometown in the East Coast. We wanted to do everything. We wanted to do everything from lacrosse to basketball to baseball to field hockey to everything you can think of. But we also didn't want to just be stuck with creating a brand and networking within our community. So, as much pride as I have in building a network, building a brand in my community, in Nova Scotia and in the eastern parts of Canada, we also want to build this brand as big as we can in North America and all over, talking about all kinds of different sports. So I want to encourage all of you guys, if you can, to check us out on YouTube at Mayflower Sports, Instagram, Mayflower Sports, and of course, our Twitter is Sports Mayflower. Unfortunately, somebody already had the Mayflower Sports Twitter handle. We could not get that. If you're wondering why we called it Mayflower Sports, we wanted to create something unique, something that wasn't too cliche, and we wanted to have something that was kind of unique to where we're from. The Mayflower is the official flower of Nova Scotia, and we want to do media stuff as well, that's outside of sports. So we didn't want to make it just about sports, whatever the name was going to be, because we are Mayflower Media as well, Mayflower Sports Media. So we didn't want it to just be to do with sports. So we love our logo, we love our brand, and we are continuing to grow with interviews, video content, and all that good stuff. So I'll be here every single day. And a lot of you guys that do know me, you guys know me through sports betting. And, you know, a lot of people, when they talk about sports in the sports betting space, a lot of times the only real way they know how to talk about sports is through betting. And for me, I was always a sports first guy. I did play-by-play commentary. I did in-house announcing. I've done some journalism work, interviewing at just local amateur junior hockey games, all that stuff. But I'm a fan first, guys. And a lot of the times, people are so blinded with their takes on social media because they're so blinded by the bet that they've made. So I want to come on here and kind of have that unbiased take, unbiased opinion, and really just talk sports, really just kind of break things down and have some hot topics that I think are interesting. And then we'll kind of go over them from there. And I look forward to hearing everybody's reactions, what everybody has to say about the things I'm saying, and see if we're all on the same page, see if we have any disagreements. We'll be talking about NBA, NHL, golf, NFL, everything in between, baseball in the summer, and just, players, everything you could imagine in general. But Jacob and I at Mayflower Sports, we plan on hosting more tournaments. We had golf tournament last summer. We want to do some hockey stuff in the winter. We want to continue to grow our brand. Eventually, we want to do some vlogging. We want to travel and go to some games, some NBA games, NHL games, bring our camera along. We're planning on going to Vegas in March together. Definitely have the camera along with us, do some vlogging and stuff like that. So we're trying to build a brand, guys, that's a little bit outside of just sports betting, which is what a lot of you guys probably know me for. So make sure you're hitting that follow. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel because there's lots of great content to come. Some stuff I wanted to talk about. So here's an example for today's show. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the World Juniors tournament being canceled and shut down after each team only played a couple games. That was really tough to see, especially, around this time when there was no NHL. A lot of people are home, they're off work. They just wanted to have something to watch. They wanted to be able to watch some sports. They wanted to be able to watch the World Juniors. They wanted to be able to cheer on their teams. All of a sudden, after one or two positive cases on Team USA, their game gets postponed. Then there's a few positive tests for some other teams. And you start seeing some rumblings around Twitter that the tournament was going to get canceled. And it was just really tough to see, because you kind of figured that once you started seeing one or two cases pop up on several teams, that might have been the end. And I'll tell you what, guys, I think a lot of that blame has to go on the IIHF for the planning of that tournament. I heard that there was a wedding going on in the exact same hotel that some of those players were staying in. So it wasn't really much of a bubble. It was pretty much the exact opposite of that. They were interacting with the public, sharing elevators, walking by them, dealing with people. There was not much of a bubble whatsoever between these teams and players. And you think about it, at least these Canadian players and American players, I guess, are back playing with their regular teams, whether it's college, USHL, whether it's, a development team or, junior in Canada. No matter where you are in North America, you're back playing with your team. Some of these guys that are in Slovakia, Russia, Finland, not an easy trip for them home. And then we find out the Russian team got kicked off their flight in Calgary for smoking in the back of the plane, vaping, and, just being, I guess, inappropriate and loud and all these different stuff, not wearing masks. So there was all kinds of different stuff going on. But I'll tell you, I was really upset and disappointed to see the World Junior Tournament get canceled. And I kind of just had that feeling in my head that I almost didn't really even want that tournament to continue after I heard a couple of the rumblings from Team USA, because it was almost inevitable. I knew what was going to happen. You kind of question why they even had the tournament in the first place if there was going to be that much of a reaction to a couple positive cases. But I was very, very disappointed with that. Happy to have the NHL back, though. The NHL was back for, a couple days after that. So that was kind of nice to have the NHL back, but it was super, super disappointing. Great to see, players like Connor Bedard. He was outstanding for Team Canada at the World Juniors. The future is bright for Hockey Canada. He looks unbelievable, scoring 4 goals in one game. I know it was against a weaker opponent, but that was still exciting to see. And I'm happy we at least got to see a small glimpse of some of these young and really talented players that Team Canada has to offer. But that's just, a topic like that I'll discuss in length, a team in a tournament like that or a cancellation like that. And it was really tough to see, honestly, that go down, really. Another thing I wanted to talk about was DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan with back-to-back buzzer beaters. It was just unbelievable to see that second one coming against the Washington Wizards. It was just so great to see as a Raptors fan, someone that watched DeMar DeRozan so many times, seeing what he did for our franchise and for what he did um, the entire time he was there in the community, the amount of big shots he hit for us, I was just so happy to see. I can't believe that you see him hit not one, but two buzzer beaters back to back games, one against the Indiana Pacers, one against the Washington Wizards. It was just so amazing to see. It was electrifying, and I was super excited for DeMar DeRozan there. So that was really cool. That was a huge highlight for me that I was excited about and I wanted to mention. Something else I wanted to talk about was the amount of goals we saw with the NHL coming back. You know, I just find it really interesting because a lot of people they consistently think that players are going to kind of forget their offense, lose their skill offensively. That's like the furthest from the truth. There's no rust for these players. There's a reason why they make millions of dollars to do what they do because they're so talented and they have that skill set. If anything, they lose their legs, they lose their defensive motivation, they lose the system the coach has put into place, and that causes turnovers, that causes sloppiness, and the rust. If anything, the rust is defensive mistakes, not offensive mistakes, and it was unbelievable to see an 8-7 victory for the San Jose Sharks against the Arizona Coyotes uh, the first night back. And the scoring continued. Not as crazy as that, but there were some really, really high scoring games that we saw besides that one. And I expected to slow down, but man, it's nice to have the NHL back. It's great to see how competitive this league has been as well. Um, I can't wait to keep recapping every single day some of these amazing games that we're going to see. We'll talk about some of the big matchups that we're seeing. I'll talk about some of these teams kind of moving up and down in my buy teams and sell teams, the teams that I kind of am liking, teams I'm not liking, players that need to perform better, and all kinds of things like that. But we're going to break down every single sport. We're going to break down just stuff that I write down the night before that was grinding my gears or things that I was impressed with certain players and everything like that. So topics like the World Juniors being canceled, topics like DeMar DeRozan hitting back-to-back buzzer beaters, topics like the NHL having high scoring games, which what seems like almost was 5-6 straight days. All of those things will be topics we'll discuss here on the Andrew McInnis podcast daily show here. You can find it on Twitter and YouTube, Mayflower Sports. Make sure you guys do me a favor, hit the follow button on the Mayflower Sports Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube on Mayflower Sports. And I'll check you guys tomorrow, breaking down everything I can think of. We'll try and find some fun topics to discuss. Drop a little follow on the Mayflower account and then tweet at us what you want to hear me discuss and break down and kind of give my opinion on. And we'll try and have some fun with this every single day here, Monday through Friday, Twitter and YouTube. But for now, guys, that's going to be it for the Daily Show, episode 1. Just an introductory video and podcast to let you guys know what I'll be all about. Daily podcast coming soon. You'll see me again tomorrow right here on YouTube and Twitter. I'm Andrew McInnis. This is the Daily Andrew McInnis podcast right here on Mayflower Sports.